Thank you all so much for being here. We appreciate all of you joining us on this important day at Lamar University. We're especially grateful for the many family and friends of Marianne and Reggie who have joined us today. You will be introduced to the Iles family members later in the program. I wanted to take a moment and personally thank some of Marianne and Reggie's friends who showed up here today. I was telling their pastor, Dr. Jim Fuller, who happens to be my pastor, I feel like I'm at church. And I'm not sure what all of my church friends are doing at work. But we appreciate y'all being here. Pastor Fuller, we appreciate this Marianne and Reggie's Sunday school class joining them, and of course the members of her beloved choir. To get the program started today, we welcome to the podium Ed Wilson, who's the associate pastor at Calder Baptist Church. Ed and Marianne conspired together for many, many years when she was the organist at Calder, and Ed will lead us in the invocation.
Would you join me in prayer? Almighty God, in whom we live and move and have our being, we invoke your presence with us as we gather here in this place today. We stand in awe of the power of building. We stand amazed at how shape and form and raw materials can come together and carry the spirit of one who dreamed, one who held to a vision of higher learning, and one who would not give up in bringing that dream to fruition. But then you are like that, O God, being a God of vision and purpose, being a God of creation and calling. And so it is no wonder that the vision of Herman Iles and your calling meet here in this building that we dedicate today. We give you thanks for his life, for his belief in education, and for his founding a family who continues to promote that dream and that vision in so many ways today. We ask your blessing upon all those who made this building possible, and pray that its purpose might be fully realized in calling young men and women to become all that they can be. Amen.
Thank you, Ed. There is a lot of good news these days at Lamar University, and at the top of that list is the news that our new chief executive is a visionary leader who is poised to continue the momentum of Lamar University and take us to even greater heights. It's my pleasure to introduce you to the president of Lamar University, Dr. Kenneth.
Thanks, Juan, and good afternoon. I'm honored to be here today to share with you the story of one of Lamar University's founding fathers, Herman Iles, and I'd also like to thank his son, Reggie, and his wife, Marianne, for their wonderful gift in honor of Mr. Iles, whom we celebrate today. I'm new, and so in the process of preparing for this, I had an opportunity to read through the history of what Herman Iles did, and I'm surprised it's not until now that we've dedicated a building in his honor. I'm surprised it didn't happen 40 years ago. What an amazing man, and what an amazing impact on this institution. I'm going to apologize to you as I turn my head down and read, in large part because I'm going to need to pull from my material what I have learned about Herman Iles and his impact on this institution. So if you'll bear with me. A fixture in the Beaumont community, Herman Iles helped spearhead what is now Lamar University. And with the naming of the Herman Iles Building today, his legacy will be a visible testament to his leadership on this campus. It's also fitting that we're doing this on Patriot Day. And when you look at the fundamental premise of what constitutes a democratic community of education, the ability to question, query, ask hard questions, seek answers, the freedom to be able to make choices, and the ability of a system to function in a capitalistic mechanism. So much of what we do here at Lamar provides the opportunity for those mechanisms to function. What a great contribution. Mr. Iles held many positions where he acted as a catalyst for Lamar's expansion. When I read through this and how quickly it happened, I'm utterly flabbergasted how this was pulled off. I've been in this business for a long time, and I realized the glacial pace of the academic enterprise, and the fact that this happened and the light speed that it happened is categorically amazing. For 25 years, Mr. Iles was employed by Magnolia Petroleum Company's Beaumont Refinery and served as an assistant purchasing agent. In addition, he was the president of the South Park Civic League, second vice president of the Young Men's Business League, head of the city's North County Relief and Assistant Bureau, and he was active in the Beaumont Chamber of Commerce and the YMCA. I had no idea when Mr. Iles slept. In 1939, he and Mr. John Gray, another name that you recognize, spoke during a meeting held at South Park High School Auditorium, where those in attendance learned of the proposal to create a community college district to fund the growth of Lamar, at that time college. In 1940, voters approved the Lamar Union Junior College District. Work began with the bonds passing, and less than 2 years later, on June 8, 1942, realize how quick all of this is happening. This is really amazing. Classes were held for the first time on the new campus. During these years of construction, Mr. Iles, because of his role in advancing our university's future, was named to the Lamar Board of Trustees. In 1947, the same Board of Trustees, now led by Mr. Iles, as president, requested the Texas legislature make Lamar a 4-year state college. The bill was signed in 1949, creating Lamar State College of Technology, which, as we know, later became Lamar University in 1971. Today, this building serves as the home of the university's recruiting efforts. Literally thousands of future Lamar alumni and students will pass through these doors. It is so fitting that it is this building we name after Herman Iles. The building will also be the home of one of the premier venues on campus. We were just commenting about that. What a very cool space we're in, and which is called the Dr. Richard Price Auditorium. We have outstanding events on campus that are held here, and it will prove to be a great venue for future students and the community as well. Again, I want to personally thank Reggie and Marianne for celebrating your father's involvement and your generous gift to Lamar. Jimmy, I think I hand it off to you next. Is that right? Am I okay doing that? One, I don't want to mess things up.
Before I begin, I want to recognize Bud Leonard. Bud was let's see, Bud, you had so many titles here, but your final title was Vice President for Vice Chancellor for Development. And so many of these gifts that we celebrate today were initiated during Bud Leonard's tenure. Bud, we all sure appreciate the service you gave to this university. Thank you for being here today. I join with President Evans in expressing appreciation for this gift. Reggie and Marianne, you really exemplify the generosity that has really created the momentum that we enjoy today at this wonderful university. Your gift will help us fulfill our mission to Southeast Texas, to Beaumont, and beyond. And as President Evans mentioned, in the past, there have been as many as 10,000 junior high students and high school students sit in this auditorium every year to enjoy programs. This is a major part of our mission, this wonderful facility. And what a great job they did in the renovation. It's so special to have Herman's name on this building, particularly as President Evans mentioned, because of his relationship to John Gray. And when you drive up and see John Gray and Herman Iles together, that's really special. Reggie earned his undergraduate degree at Louisiana. It was USL, now it's the University of Louisiana Lafayette. But you know, he came to Texas to go to dental school, and those of you in Texas know you have to take Texas history before you can get into any school in Texas. So thank goodness you did, because that's how he got associated with Lamar University. He took those last 6 hours here, then entered the University of Texas College of Dentistry in 1946. His dentistry career was complemented with his business prowess. And you know, he's found success in both arenas, great success, and that's a testament to his education, his determination, and his talents, and also to my wife's beautiful teeth, I might add. Throughout his career, he's been on so many boards it's impossible to mention them all. He served in nearly every leadership capacity with Calder Baptist Church. And I have promised you all bring my clarinet and perform as soon as possible, Reverend. I know this. And Marianne, we share a particular kinship because we're both musicians. And this is a little known fact, but the first piano lesson I had was with Herman Iles. She lived right across from my grandparents on North Street. And my grandmother decided I should play the piano, so she introduced me to Marianne, and I walked across the street once a week and took my first piano lessons. Thank you so much. Of course, she was also an integral part of their business ventures also, particularly in the real estate area. You earned your degrees from North Texas, University of North Texas, in piano and cello. You were a cellist too? And organ. And of course, she performed with the University of North Texas Symphony Orchestra. She's been a performer with the Beaumont Symphonies, now called the Symphony of Southeast Texas. Of course, she's been the organist for many decades at Calder Baptist. I think they now are even the organist emeritus. So we share that title also. There are also several connections between Reggie and Marianne and my family. They were very close friends of Susan's parents, Rudy and Jean. And they told me to be sure and wish you the best today. They purchased their wedding ring, engagement ring, from my father 66 years ago at Beaumont Jewelers. Do you still have it? Good, okay. Well, I want to thank you so much. It's been a wonderful time that we've had visiting with you and putting this together, and thank you so much for your generosity. This is a great day for Lamar University, for Beaumont, and for your family. Thank you.
Dr. Evans has a gift now to present to the Iles. I think it'd be easier for him to take it to y'all, if you don't mind. This is a replica of the bust of Mirabeau B. Lamar that's in the quadrangle of Lamar, done by the same artist who did the bust in the quadrangle. And now we're going to have some words from members of the Iles family, represented by Marianne and Reggie's children, John and Elizabeth.
Ladies first.
I just was asked to say a few words about my grandmother, Delma Iles Wheat. That's the grandparent I know. We didn't have the opportunity to meet our grandfather, but she was a very determined, hardworking woman, and I'm sure she was a part of the initiative of the things that were going and accomplished in Herman Iles' life. She was a fun person to be with, a lot of energy, entertained well, and was very organized. And she, I'm sure, deserves some appreciation, if not a lot of appreciation, for the accomplishments that Herman did during his lifetime. And she was a role model as a community leader as well, and was involved in speaking in her groups and things. And of course, she was a great cook. You just could not imagine how wonderful she cooked. Thank you.
Mother said to get the mic. I wanted to say a few words about my grandfather, and as Elizabeth said, we did not have the opportunity to meet him, but I cannot tell you how many times I've run into people that have said, "Oh, is your father the dentist?" And I said, "Yes." And they'd go, "Well, that meant your grandfather was Herman Iles, right?" I was checking a book out at Lamar University once, I think it was my freshman year, and I had my ID, and I was at the Gray Library, and it was one of Mrs. Munger's friends that was checking me out with the book, and she did that very same thing. That's where that story came from, and I'm sorry I don't remember her name, but when she did realize that that was my grandfather, she said, "Well, he was the handsomest man in Beaumont." So it was quite a revelation when you're 18 years old and somebody who's in their 70s or 80s saying how handsome he was. But I know my father has told me some stories, and I think one of the most important ones, especially at this time, what we're here for, was that my grandfather was put in charge of the first 5 buildings that were constructed here at Lamar, and he was given a budget of $1 million to do that. They constructed those buildings, they even furnished those buildings. Those buildings are still standing today, and my father said I think that he even worked on some of them as they were being constructed. But all these things, we were at a celebration with President Simmons, and he was talking about the lives are so intertwined with Dr. Gray and with my grandfather. And it was dawning on me that I was about the same age as he was when he passed away. He passed away at, I believe, 49 years, maybe almost 50, of leukemia. So he knew he was dying for the last 3.5 years of his life. 2 things that happened that day at the library, President Simmons was, that I realized what kind of guy he was. And I said, "Gosh, he got all these things done at such an early age." And a very Iles answer came across the table from me, from my Aunt Ann Tucker, Ann Iles. She looks at me and says, "Well, I guess you better get started." But we're so happy that everybody's here. And thank you very much. And we always want to say, LU.
Elizabeth is going to introduce the members of her family who have joined us today.
Okay, on the first row we have John Iles, and then my oldest brother, Bland Iles, who was 2 years old, I guess, when Herman died. And the next one is Herman Iles. He's here. He's my brother's son, Herman, and he's a Baylor student, about to graduate and about to get married. And that's exciting. My mother, Mary Ann Iles, of course. My father, Herman, Reggie Iles, Roy Crush, and Roy and Natalie and Christy are here from Houston. And their grandfather was Larry Iles, who was one of the sons, and we're so glad y'all made it over here today. Thank you. And I think is that it? I don't want to miss anybody. Okay.
I think that's so much.
Oh, I was going to mention one other thing. When the university was started, they didn't have enough rooms for the students to stay in, and so Delma and Herman actually housed 4 or 5 students in their home so that they would have a place to live. That's the kind of things that they did, on top of what they did with their own family and their own business. So I just wanted to mention that.
Thank you all again for being here. We do have a reception in the atrium of the Iles Building following this program, and we will conclude our program with a prayer led by Mary Ann and Reggie's pastor, Jen Fuller.
I had my phone on vibrate, as you're supposed to, and I got a text a moment ago from Juan. Mary Ann wants you to close with a prayer. What can you say? You know, I'm really happy to do so. In fact, I'm the pastor to about half of the crowd here. Dr. Evans somebody leaned up, several somebodies from my congregation have leaned up behind me and said, you know, this should count as prayer meeting tonight. And I said, it doesn't count as church unless we take up an offering. To do that. I'm very happy to lead in a prayer. And I do want to mention this Herman Iles stand-up. I know him as Reggie. I do want to mention, this is our senior at Baylor this year, but I do want to thank you, Reggie, Herman. I do want to mention his father, who is deceased. Your dad died how long ago, Herman?
10 years.
10 years ago. That Herman Iles was a magnificent character in his own right as well. He was instrumental in the real estate business of his dad and mom. He was a great churchman at Calder Baptist Church, and we dearly love him as well. And I will always see the name up here as not only reflecting Reggie's dad, but one of his sons as well, Herman Iles. And I'm glad that name is on this building as well. I am happy to lead in a prayer. I would do anything for the Iles, not because they are generous, although they are, but because they're family. One of my members leaned up and said, you know, it's really a pretty great credit to Mary Ann and Reggie that so many people in attendance today that they invited are from their church. And as near we can, Calder Baptist Church is a family. And regardless of everything else that has been said, when I see the name on this building, I will think first of all of the power of family and what family means. And I thank you for that from all of us. Would you join me in prayer? Dear God, you were so generous to us to give us one another. And at a time like this, we remember again the power of families. Well, Mr. Herman Iles did many things, and we recognize them with gratitude. But more than anything else, he was family. Not all of us are blessed with the kind of biological family represented today. And so help us, dear God, to remember we are family to one another, brothers and sisters to all who bear your image, to all who have been created. So as we do the work of Lamar University, help us to remember that first and foremost, in church, in congregations, in university, we are about family. May this building represent a safe place for the students who enter it, for many of them will be anxious at leaving their families of origin. May this building represent a place where new connections are made, powerful, lifelong connections of friendship that will become like family. May this building represent a new experience, not just a college career, not just an education, although it indeed must be that, but help it to represent a new family for the students who pass this way. And as we teach them, as we become mentors to them, help us also to pause when they need it, to hold a hand, to put an arm around a shoulder, to listen to dreams and fears and victories and tears so that we might be family. May it start in this building for prospective students and spread to every experience throughout this great campus. For it is in thy precious and holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you again. And like I say, in the lobby is the reception. Thank you for being here.